The night sky above Earth was calm. The stars twinkled as they always had. And the people of Earth lived their lives without knowing that everything was about to change. It began not with fire, not with war, but with a voice. A strange voice that did not belong to any human. A voice that spoke across every screen, every radio, every channel all at once. The people froze, the soldiers froze, even the children froze, because the voice was clear and commanding. It was the voice of someone who did not ask but demanded, "Get on with it." "Earthlings," the voice said, sharp and impatient. "The alien princess is growing tired of waiting." All around the world, governments panicked. Presidents and generals whispered into secret lines. Scientists checked their machines again and again. They could not understand how the voice had entered every signal at once. No satellite had detected an invasion fleet. No radar showed enemy ships, and yet here it was. A message that could not be ignored. The world leaders thought it was a trick. Some new kind of human technology. But deep inside they knew this was not human. This was something else, something far older and far stronger. News stations repeated the words again and again. "Get on with it." "Earthlings?" the voice of the alien princess echoed, and people asked, "What does she want? Who is she? And why is she so impatient?" No one had the answers. But the suspense grew heavier with every passing second, as if the whole Earth was holding its breath, waiting for her to speak again. Then the sky changed. In the middle of the night above the Pacific Ocean, a giant light appeared. Brighter than the moon, larger than any plane, and moving with a grace that no machine of Earth could match. Telescopes turned and cameras pointed, and the truth was revealed. A ship, but not like any ship the world had seen. It was enormous, glowing with golden patterns that looked alive as if the ship itself was breathing. Every wave of the ocean below reflected its light, and the people knew. The voice was real. The princess was here, the alien princess spoke again. Her voice calm but still impatient. "I have waited long enough, Earth. Do not test my patience. I came to see if you are worthy, but you move too slow. Get on with it." Her words were strange. Not of destruction, not of war, but of testing, of waiting. It was as if she had come not to conquer, but to judge, and that made the mystery even greater. Because humanity did not know what test she meant, what judgment she wanted, or what punishment would follow if they failed. Inside secret rooms, the leaders argued. Some wanted to fire missiles. Some wanted to send messages of peace. Others wanted to hide the truth, but it was too late. The whole world had seen the ship. The whole world had heard the princess, and fear had already entered every heart. But alongside fear there was also curiosity, the kind of curiosity that burns brighter than fear. Who was she? What did she look like? And why did she choose Earth? These questions spread faster than the panic, and in living rooms and streets and villages people whispered, "Why us?" Children pointed at the glowing ship in the sky, asking their parents if it was a star. Old men prayed to the heavens. Young men and women recorded the sky with their phones, posting the light again and again until the world was flooded with images of the same sight. Humanity was no longer separate. In that moment they were one world looking at the same sky, at the same glowing ship, listening to the same strange, impatient voice. The princess did not appear on screen, not yet. Only her words, only her tone. But her tone was sharp like a blade and quick like lightning. She spoke as if she was above them, as if humanity was too slow for her liking. She repeated again, "Do not waste time, Earthlings. You are slower than I imagined. Get on with it." And though her words were simple, they carried a heavy weight, for behind them was the power of a starship that floated like a mountain of fire above the sea. Some people laughed nervously, saying it was a prank. Some fell to their knees in terror. Others clenched their fists, angry at being spoken to like children. But no matter what they felt, they all knew one thing: the world had changed. The question was no longer if humanity was alone. The question now was what the princess wanted, and what price would be paid if they disappointed her. The suspense tightened like a rope around the Earth. Each heartbeat slower, each moment heavier, and still the glowing ship waited above the ocean, not moving, not attacking, just waiting, as if it had all the time in the universe. But the princess herself, her voice betrayed something else. She did not have all the time. She was restless. She was impatient, and she wanted something from humanity, something no one yet understood. And so part one of this strange tale ends with Earth looking up, the glowing ship shining like a second sun, the voice of the princess still echoing in the minds of all. "Get on with it, Earthlings," she had said. And the whole planet wondered, get on with what? The ship did not leave. It hovered like a silent mountain of light above the Pacific Ocean, glowing brighter than any star. People could not look away. The waves below trembled. The skies around it burned with golden sparks, and yet the ship remained still, as if waiting, as if daring the humans to act. And across the world, the reactions began in Washington. The president stared at the live footage. Generals shouted over one another. Some demanded missiles. Some begged for diplomacy. Scientists shouted for more data. No one agreed. No one understood. And the voice of the alien princess repeated again and again on every channel. "Get on with it, Earthlings. You test my patience." Her words filled the air like thunder, sharp and inescapable. In Moscow, commanders lined up warheads. Their hands hovered over launch keys, but their hearts trembled. Because what if a single missile meant the end of their city? In Beijing, leaders spoke in fast whispers, arguing whether the ship was a danger or an opportunity. In London, ministers rushed underground, fearing the worst, and still the ship did not fire. Still the princess only spoke, impatient and restless. Not cruel, not kind, simply waiting. Ordinary people reacted in their own ways. Some ran into the streets pointing at the sky, recording the strange golden light, their videos spreading faster than any government warning. Others prayed in temples and churches, whispering that perhaps this was the end of days. Children cried in fear, parents held them close, and teenagers laughed nervously, calling it the biggest prank in history. But deep inside, everyone knew it was no prank, no trick. The ship was real. The princess was real, and her eyes, though unseen, were watching Earth. News anchors tried to remain calm, their voices shaking as they read the words of the princess. Again and again, "Get on with it, Earthlings," they repeated, trying to explain, trying to guess. But their guesses fell empty because what did she want? What did she mean? Governments were silent. Leaders gave no answers, and into that silence the voice of the princess grew louder. In a small village far from the cities, an old man looked up at the ship and whispered, "She is not here to kill us if she wanted to. We would already be gone. She waits for something else in crowded cities." Students argued in cafes. Some claimed the princess wanted Earth to prove strength. Others said she wanted wisdom, but none of them knew. And every theory only added to the storm of fear and curiosity. Meanwhile, inside secret bunkers, world leaders held tense meetings. Voices cracked, tempers rose. One general shouted, "She mocks us, we must show power." Another scientist begged, "No, this is first contact, we must listen." One leader slammed his fist. "She does not tell us what to do, we are not children." But the truth was bitter, for in her words, she did treat Earth like children. Slow, hesitant, stumbling, and she demanded they hurry. Outside, protesters gathered in the streets. Some held signs saying, "Welcome, Princess." Others held signs saying, "Leave our world." Chaos spread. Fear mixed with wonder, anger with hope, and everywhere. Screens glowed with the same message, the same impatient demand. The United Nations called for calm. Diplomats spoke of peace, but even they admitted they had no message to send. No code to answer her with because her technology was beyond them. Her ship listened to no human frequency. It only spoke, and Earth could only listen. Like students before a teacher. Then came the second shock, for as the ship hovered, light spread from its surface like wings. Beams of gold reached down into the ocean, not to destroy but to display. Shapes rose from the water, glowing creatures of light. Their forms like fish, yet not of this world. Their scales shimmering with colors no human had seen. The creatures leapt into the sky and dissolved into sparks. A silent display, a warning, or perhaps an introduction, no one knew. The princess's voice followed the vision. Colder this time, sharper. "Do you see, Earthlings? Even the ocean listens faster than you. Even the stars answer quicker. Must I wait longer? Must I speak slower, or will you finally act?" Her voice was filled with disdain, as if she had already lost patience and still humanity stood frozen. In control rooms, soldiers gripped their rifles tighter. In research centers, scientists scribbled notes as fast as their hands could move. In homes, families pressed closer to their screens, all of them united by one thought. What does she want us to do? And yet, deep beneath the fear, a strange feeling began to grow, not just terror, not just panic, but defiance, some whispered. "Who is she to command us?" some muttered. "We are not her servants, and though small," these voices carried, spreading from mouth to mouth. Thread to thread, post to post, humanity was afraid, yes, but humanity was also proud. Still, the suspense held strong. The golden ship waited, the waves shimmered. The voice of the princess echoed once more. "Get on with it, Earthlings!" The alien princess grows impatient, and her words carried across the globe like thunder in the blood, shaking hearts, stirring questions, demanding answers. The world stood at the edge of a choice and no one knew which way it would fall. The golden ship still waited above the Pacific Ocean, glowing like a second sun, and the world had reached a breaking point. Fear and curiosity had burned long enough. The princess's words had echoed again and again, and finally the leaders of Earth decided someone had to face her, someone had to go. It was not a single nation's choice, but a forced agreement. The United Nations gathered in secret chambers, voices low, faces pale, each leader unwilling to step forward alone, but none willing to be left behind. And so they chose a team, small, diverse, carrying the weight of all humanity. A scientist, a soldier, a doctor, a pilot, and an ordinary civilian chosen for reasons no one could explain. Perhaps to show that Earth was not only armies and governments, but people. The world watched as helicopters carried them across the ocean, watched as ships guided them toward the massive golden starship, watched as they trembled at the edge of something far greater than human hands had ever built. And then it happened. The ship opened. No explosion, no roar, only silence. A circle of light appeared on the surface of the ship, wide enough for the team to enter. It glowed like a doorway made of liquid sun. The ocean below stilled as if holding its breath, and the humans knew this was an invitation, or perhaps a command. The pilot whispered, "If we enter, we may never return," the soldier muttered. "If we don't, we may never survive." And the scientist, her eyes wide with wonder, simply said, "We must go, for all of us." And so they stepped forward, one by one, swallowed by the golden light. Inside the ship, the air was different, heavy and light at the same time. Glowing walls shifted as if alive. Patterns moved like rivers of fire along the floor. The humans walked slowly, every step echoing. And then the voice returned, but this time it was not distant. Not through machines, it was here, in the air around them, sharp, impatient. "Close, you are late, Earthlings," the alien princess said, her tone biting. "I told you to get on with it. Yet you crawl like children learning to walk." The team froze. Their hearts pounded. They looked around but saw no figure, only the glowing hull, and then the light bent. The patterns in the air shaped themselves, and from the golden waves she emerged. The alien princess, she was tall, taller than any human. Her skin shimmered like silver touched by starlight. Her hair floated as if in water, woven with strands of crystal. Her eyes glowed with deep violet, sharp and endless. Her robes shimmered like galaxies sewn into fabric, and yet for all her beauty, her expression was sharp with annoyance. Her lips pressed thin, her eyes narrowed. The soldier whispered under his breath, "She looks like a goddess," the scientist whispered back. "No, she looks like someone who does not wait." And both were right. The princess walked toward them with slow grace, her step silent, her gaze piercing. She studied each human one by one as if they were puzzles, her face unreadable, and then she spoke again, her words carrying both disdain and curiosity. "So these are Earth's champions," she said, her voice ringing in the walls. "Slow feet, nervous hearts, weak frames, and yet you dare to stand before me." She leaned closer to the soldier, her violet eyes burning. "Do you believe you can impress me?" The soldier swallowed but held his ground. "We are here to speak for our world," he said, his voice steady though his hands trembled. The princess tilted her head, a faint smirk on her lips, amused but not convinced. She turned to the scientist next. "You study the stars, yet you do not even know how to reach them properly," she mocked, and the scientist replied softly, "We learn step by step, princess. We may be slower, but we do not stop." Her violet eyes narrowed, but a flicker of something else crossed her face. Perhaps interest, perhaps respect, it was hard to tell. She circled them, her robes glowing, her voice sharp as she repeated, "Get on with it, Earthlings. I do not enjoy waiting." The doctor stepped forward, his voice calm. "Why are you here? Why do you test us?" he asked. And the princess stopped, turning her gaze upon him. Her voice softened for the first time, though it still carried weight. "Because I must know if your kind deserves to stand beside mine. I travel the galaxies not for conquest, but for judgment, and Earth, slow little Earth, must prove itself." The team exchanged glances. Fear mixed with awe, for the mystery deepened. She had not come to destroy, at least not yet. She had come to test, to measure, to see if humanity was worthy of something far greater. The ordinary civilian, who had been silent until now, whispered almost without thinking, "And if we fail?" The princess turned sharply, her violet eyes glowing brighter. "Then you will be left behind, forgotten by the stars, and others less merciful will come. Others who do not ask, only take." Her words hung heavy. chilling the humans deeper than any threat of weapons. The hall grew silent. Only the hum of the ship filled the air. The humans stood small before her vast presence, and though fear gripped them, none turned away, for they knew this was the first meeting, and the fate of their world had already begun to change. The princess crossed her arms, her silver skin glowing brighter, her voice cutting the silence once more. "You have taken your first step, Earthlings, but do not stumble, the test has only begun. Get on with it." And with those words, the golden wall shifted again, opening new paths deeper into the ship, darker and stranger than before. The humans stood still for a moment, hearts racing, then moved forward, their journey into the unknown beginning, their first meeting with the alien princess leaving them shaken, but also ignited with a strange fire. For humanity had finally looked into the eyes of the stars, and the stars had looked back, impatient, powerful, and waiting. The golden halls of the ship shifted again, the walls rippled like liquid fire, and the human team felt as if the starship itself was alive. Each step forward made the floor glow brighter, guiding them deeper inside. The air grew heavier, their hearts pounded harder, and the princess followed behind them, her violet eyes sharp, her tone colder than steel. "You came to speak," she said, her voice echoing across the chamber. "But I did not come to listen. I came to test. And Earth must answer." The soldier stopped, his fists tight. "What kind of test?" he asked, his voice steady though his breath betrayed fear. The princess stepped closer, her silver skin glowing in the shifting light, her words slow, deliberate, and heavy. "You humans live small lives on a small world. You build machines and call them power. You wage wars and call them strength. You stumble through the dark and call it progress. But the galaxy does not care for small things. The galaxy devours the weak, honors the strong, and fears the clever," she said, her words cutting like blades. "So I must know, are you to be devoured or are you to stand?" The chamber widened, walls rising like towers of crystal. The roof above shimmered with stars, as if the universe itself had been painted across it. The human team gasped, for each star moved, living sparks across the ceiling, entire constellations twisting in ways no human eye had seen. And from the center of the floor rose 5 pillars, glowing with shifting colors. The princess raised her hand, the pillars hummed, and strange symbols burned into the air. Alien letters that shifted and changed with every glance. The scientist tried to understand them, but her mind spun. They were not just language, they were puzzles, challenges carved into light. "This is your first trial," the princess declared, her voice ringing in the vast chamber. "The trial of knowledge, for you claim to be thinkers. You claim to study the stars, but do you understand even a fragment of the truths that lie beyond them?" The scientist stepped forward, her hands trembling as she touched the first pillar. Light wrapped around her fingers like smoke. The symbols shifted again, forming patterns, riddles, questions that pulsed in her mind. She gasped, whispering, "It's not just language. It's thought itself," and she began to work, solving piece after piece, her eyes burning with focus. The princess watched with narrowed eyes, her lips curved in the faintest smirk. "At least one of you tries," she said. Impatient but curious, the soldier frowned. "And if she fails?" he asked. The princess's gaze turned sharp. "Then Earth fails, and I will leave you behind." Her words were calm but final, as if already decided. The doctor stepped forward to help, but a second pillar lit up, glowing red, and a beast of light emerged from it, its body formed of fire and shadow, its eyes blazing, its roar shaking the chamber. The soldier raised his weapon, but the princess's voice cut him off. "Do not think only of weapons," she said coldly. "This is the trial of courage. Will you stand before fear? Or will you fall?" The soldier gritted his teeth. His finger twitched on the trigger, but he lowered his weapon. He faced the beast with bare hands, his voice steady though his legs shook. "I will not run," he said. The beast charged, its fire swept over him, but it passed through like smoke, leaving him untouched, leaving only the sound of the princess's laughter, sharp and amused. "Perhaps you are not entirely useless," she said, though her tone still carried impatience. The doctor then turned to the third pillar, glowing green, and from it emerged an injured creature, small, trembling, its body cracked with wounds, its breath shallow. The princess's eyes narrowed. "This is the trial of compassion. Do you waste time on the weak, or do you cast it aside?" The doctor knelt without hesitation, pulling a small medical kit from his pack. His hands moved quickly, gently, and though his tools were human and simple, the creature's wounds began to close, its breathing steadied, and it looked up at him with eyes full of gratitude before dissolving into light. The princess said nothing this time, only watched. Her violet eyes unreadable, her lips pressed tight, but a silence heavier than her insults filled the air. The ordinary civilian stepped back, his heart pounding. He had no science, no weapons, no training, only fear. But the fourth pillar glowed, glowing blue, and in his mind he heard a whisper, his own voice, his own doubts rising louder and louder, voices telling him he was nothing, voices telling him he should turn away. He shook his head, covering his ears, whispering, "I am not nothing, I am still here, I came, I stood. I walked into the ship and I am still here." The voices screamed louder, but he screamed louder still, and the blue light faded, leaving him standing, trembling but unbroken. The princess's gaze lingered on him longer than the others. Her impatience slowed, her voice softer. "Strange," she whispered. "The smallest often burn the brightest." The fifth pillar glowed last, but it did not show riddles, or beasts or wounds. It only showed a mirror, a reflection of all 5 humans standing together, tired, shaken, but unbroken, and the symbols above shifted once more, forming a single word that even they could read. Unity. The princess's expression changed. Her lips curved in a faint smile, her eyes narrowing not in anger but in thought. She raised her hand. The pillars sank back into the floor, and the stars above shimmered out, leaving only silence. "You stumble, you hesitate, you fall, yet you rise," she said slowly, her voice carrying something new, something heavier. "Perhaps there is more to you than I thought. But this is only the beginning, Earthlings. Do not celebrate yet. For the galaxy will not forgive weakness, and neither will I." She turned sharply, her robes flowing like streams of light, her voice rising again in sharp command. "Get on with it, Earthlings. The true trials lie ahead." And the golden hall opened once more, revealing a darker path, a path that led deeper into the heart of the ship. The human team exchanged glances, fear and hope mixing in their eyes, and they stepped forward into the unknown, into the challenge that would decide the fate of their world. The golden halls closed behind the human team, and before them stretched a vast chamber unlike anything they had yet seen. The floor was not solid but made of light, shifting like glass over endless stars. Each step felt as if they might fall into the void, and above them, towers of crystal hung like upside-down mountains, glowing with colors that pulsed in rhythm with their hearts. The alien princess walked ahead with silent grace, her violet eyes scanning them, her silver skin glowing against the shifting stars. She raised her hand, and the chamber transformed. The towers bent, the light shifted, and new paths appeared, twisting like mazes. "Earthlings," she said, her tone sharp and impatient. "You passed the first test, but that was only the door. Now you will walk through the fire. The trial of humanity begins, and here you will either reveal your true strength, or you will break." The soldier clenched his fists, ready for whatever came. The scientist adjusted her glasses, though they trembled in her hands. The doctor steadied his breathing. The civilian whispered a prayer, and the pilot gripped a small charm around his neck, each preparing in their own way. The first trial appeared as the floor beneath them shifted. A wide chasm opened, endless space below and across it. Another platform waited, glowing faintly. Between the two sides floated stepping stones of light, but each stone flickered, some vanishing, some reappearing. The princess's voice cut through the silence. "The trial of trust. You cannot cross alone, you must move together, or you will fall." The soldier stepped first, his boots heavy on the glowing stones. One vanished beneath his foot, but another appeared just in time. He gasped. The scientist reached for his arm. Steadying him, the doctor moved next, guiding the civilian, and the pilot called out the patterns. Counting the flickers, together they crossed, stones appearing just in time, vanishing just behind, hearts racing, sweat dripping, until they all reached the far side. Trembling but alive, the princess's smirk widened, though her eyes still narrowed with impatience. "Not completely hopeless," she said, "but the galaxy will not praise you for surviving. It will demand more." The second trial began without warning. The crystal towers above shattered, raining shards of light that turned into beasts midair, creatures with wings of fire and teeth of ice. They shrieked as they circled the humans, their eyes glowing with hunger. "The trial of defense," the princess declared. "You have no armies, no fleets, only yourselves. Show me if you can stand." The soldier raised his weapon, firing into the beasts. Light tore through their wings, but more came. The pilot grabbed a broken shard from the floor, swinging it like a blade. The doctor shielded the civilian, pushing him behind, and the scientist shouted patterns she saw in their attacks, guiding the others where to strike. The beasts shrieked louder, but together the humans fought. their movements clumsy yet united until the last beast dissolved into sparks, leaving them panting and bruised. The princess's violet eyes glowed brighter, her voice colder. You fight like children with sticks, but you fight together. Perhaps that is something. The third trial came as the floor rippled again, forming two doors, one glowing gold, the other glowing black. The princess's voice echoed. The trial of choice. One door hides salvation, the other hides ruin. You may argue, you may fight, but you must choose as one. The team hesitated, fear crawling up their spines. The soldier wanted the black door, trusting his gut. The scientist argued for the golden one, her logic pointing to the brighter path. The pilot hesitated, unsure. The doctor begged for calm, and the civilian whispered, "Maybe it's not about the door. Maybe it's about how we decide." His words silenced the argument, and together, hand in hand, they chose the golden door, stepping through. Inside they found not salvation but reflection. The chamber showed their faces, not as they were but as they could be, stronger, wiser, united. The black door dissolved behind them, and the princess's laughter rang sharp. At last you begin to see the choice was never the door. It was your unity. The fourth trial was crueler. The chamber twisted into a battlefield. Smoke and ash filled the air. Ruins stretched as far as they could see, and in the rubble lay survivors, human survivors, crying for help, their voices desperate. "Save us, please. Save us," the soldier ran to them. Pulling one from the rubble, the doctor rushed to heal another. The scientist cried out that the cries were endless, too many to save. The civilian froze, tears streaming down his face, whispering, "We can't save everyone." And the princess's voice struck like thunder. "This is the trial of mercy. Will you still try? Even knowing you cannot succeed." The humans worked until their hands bled, until their lungs burned, saving as many as they could. Though many faded into dust, illusions or truths they did not know, but they did not stop, not even when despair threatened to break them. And finally the battlefield faded, leaving them exhausted, covered in ash that was not real but felt heavy all the same. The princess's tone was quieter now, though still sharp. "You waste strength on the doomed, and yet, perhaps that is what makes you dangerous. You do not give up." The final trial came suddenly. The chamber grew dark, so dark they could not see each other, only hear their breaths, and then came the whispers. Not alien whispers, but their own voices, filled with doubt, regret, fear. The soldier heard the lives he had taken. The scientist heard every failure. The doctor heard every patient he had lost. The pilot heard his crashes. The civilian heard every voice that had called him useless. The whispers grew louder, trying to break them apart, but one by one, they called out into the dark, calling each other's names, holding hands in the void until the darkness broke, and the chamber lit once more. The princess stood before them, silent at first, her violet eyes unreadable, her silver skin glowing brighter than ever. Finally she spoke, her tone slow, softer than before, though still carrying weight. "You stumble, you bleed, you fall. And yet you rise again, no matter how hopeless, no matter how foolish you rise. Perhaps this is what makes humanity different. Perhaps this is why you may yet stand," she said. But then her impatience returned, sharp as ever. "Do not think you have won. Earthlings, the final trial remains, and it will not be so merciful. Get on with it." The golden halls opened once more, revealing a path darker than all before, and the humans, battered and weary, stepped forward, their hearts heavy, but their fire unbroken. The golden halls grew darker as the human team walked forward. The walls that once glowed with living fire now dimmed to shadows. The air grew heavy, every breath thick as smoke, and the silence pressed against their ears like stone. Even the steps of the alien princess were quieter now, her violet eyes glowing faint in the gloom. At last they entered a chamber unlike the others. It was vast, empty, the ceiling hidden in blackness, the floor smooth like glass, and in the center stood a single figure, chained by light, kneeling with head bowed. The team froze, their eyes wide, for the figure was no illusion. No puzzle, but real, breathing, alive. The princess stepped ahead, her silver skin gleaming faintly in the dim glow, her voice sharp, echoing through the chamber. "Earthlings, you have stumbled through my trials. You have shown me courage, mercy, unity, but none of that matters if you fail the truth. This is your final test. The trial of judgment." The chained figure raised his head, and the humans gasped. He was alien, but not like the princess. His skin was rough, gray, and scarred, his eyes red with fury and pain, his body powerful, though weakened by chains. He looked at them not with curiosity, but with hatred, and his voice was rough as stone. "Humans," he growled, Do not trust her, she is not your savior. She is your jailer, free me, and I will help you destroy her. The soldier raised his weapon at once. The doctor grabbed his arm. Wait, listen, he whispered. The scientist's eyes darted between the princess and the prisoner. Her mind racing, the civilian shook his head in fear. The pilot whispered, This is wrong, all of this is wrong. The princess's gaze sharpened. Her tone impatient but cold. This creature is my enemy. He has burned worlds, killed billions, he deserves no mercy. Strike him down, and prove that Earth has strength. Her violet eyes narrowed, her words cut like a blade. If you hesitate, if you pity him, you prove yourselves weak. And weakness is death in the galaxy. The prisoner spat against the glass floor, his red eyes burning. Do not listen to her lies. Humans, she is no better than me. She plays with you like toys. She tests you as if you are insects. I may be cruel, but I am honest. I will fight beside you. But only if you break these chains. The chamber grew heavy. The silence more terrible than screams. The humans stood trapped between two choices. Strike the prisoner and prove strength, or free him and prove mercy. Either path dangerous, either path final. The soldier's voice broke the silence first, harsh and steady. If we kill him, we show her we are strong. Maybe she spares Earth. But if we free him and he turns on us, Earth burns. His words echoed with fear disguised as reason. The doctor shook his head, his voice soft but firm. If we kill him, we are executioners, not healers. And if we follow her command without thought, we are nothing but servants. He turned to the princess, meeting her gaze. Is this what you want? For us to kill on your word? The princess's eyes flashed brighter, her tone sharp with anger. I want you to show me what you are. Not what you pretend to be. Get on with it, Earthlings. Choose, the scientist whispered. This is not about him. This is not about her. This is about us, about what kind of people we are. Her hands trembled, but her voice grew stronger. If we kill to please her, we are not worthy of anything. And if we free him and he betrays us, then at least we chose by our own hearts. The civilian stepped forward slowly, his knees shaking, his voice breaking. All my life, I have been told I am weak, useless, but maybe weakness is not failing to kill. Maybe weakness is killing because we are afraid. He placed his trembling hand on the chains, whispering, No one deserves chains forever. Not even an enemy, the soldier cursed. His heart torn, but at last he lowered his weapon. The doctor placed his hand on the chains. The scientist nodded, the pilot followed, and together they touched the glowing bonds. Light surged through them, burning but not breaking, until the chains dissolved into sparks, and the prisoner was free. For a long moment he stood silent, staring at his hands, at his freedom. The humans braced themselves, fearing his betrayal, but he only raised his head and gave a single nod, not of friendship, but of recognition. Then he vanished into the shadows, gone as quickly as he had appeared. The princess stood still, her violet eyes burning brighter than ever, her silver skin glowing sharp against the darkness. Her lips pressed into a thin line, and then she laughed, not cruel, not mocking, but sharp with surprise, her voice ringing like crystal breaking. No world has ever chosen as you did, she said. Her tone filled with something new. They always strike, always obey, but you defied me. You chose mercy where I demanded strength. You chose your path over mine, and that is dangerous, foolish, and perhaps powerful. She stepped closer, her gaze piercing them. Her impatience softened for the first time. You are strange, Earthling, strange and reckless. But perhaps it is your strangeness that may yet change the stars. Her voice slowed, heavy with thought. Perhaps it is I who must get on with it. The chamber dissolved into golden light. The shadows faded and the humans found themselves back in the heart of the ship, their bodies trembling, their hearts heavy, but their spirits unbroken. They had faced the final test, and they had chosen not the path of fear, but the path of humanity. And in the silence that followed, the fate of Earth shifted, the princess watching them not with scorn, but with something far more dangerous, respect. The golden chamber shimmered back into light, the walls breathing like fire and glass. The humans stood in silence, weary from the trials, their hearts heavy yet burning with strange pride. They had walked through fear, faced beasts and puzzles, made choices that cut their souls. And now they waited for the alien princess, her violet eyes glowing brighter than the stars around them. For the first time, she did not speak quickly. She did not snap her words with impatience, she only stared at them, her silver skin reflecting the golden light, her long robes flowing like rivers of galaxies. The silence stretched until the soldier whispered, Did we fail? His voice breaking. But the princess finally raised her hand and her voice cut the silence. "No," she said slowly, her tone sharp but quieter than before. "You did not fail, you did not obey me. You did not bend to my commands, and yet, you did not collapse either. You chose your own path, reckless, foolish, dangerous, but undeniably human." The team exchanged glances, their breaths unsteady. Unsure if her words were praise or warning, the doctor stepped forward, his voice steady. "We did not want to impress you. We only wanted to be true to ourselves." The princess tilted her head, her violet eyes narrowing. "And that, Earthling, is exactly why you impressed me." The floor beneath them shifted, forming a wide platform of light. The walls opened like wings, and outside they saw the stars, endless and sharp, the earth shining far below like a blue jewel in the void. The princess stood at the edge, her gaze fixed on the planet, her voice carrying across the chamber. "Do you see it?" she asked. "That small world, fragile and trembling, a single spark in an endless storm. Countless civilizations would ignore it. Others would crush it. Some would enslave it, but you fight for it, you stumble for it, you burn for it, and still you rise again." Her voice grew stronger, filled with something deeper than impatience. "No world I have tested has chosen mercy over strength. No world has chosen unity over survival. You are slow, Earthlings, but you are strange. And sometimes it is strangeness that changes the galaxy." The soldier stepped forward, his voice low. "So what happens now? Do you leave? Do you destroy us, or do you stand with us?" The question hung heavy, and the princess turned to him, her violet eyes glowing softer, her lips curved into the faintest smile. "For many lifetimes I have traveled from star to star, searching for those worthy to stand beside my people," she said. "And every time I found arrogance, cruelty or cowardice, but here on this fragile world, I found something new, something stubborn, something foolish enough to give mercy when death was demanded, something reckless enough to defy me." She paused, her voice soft. "And perhaps that is what I was waiting for." The human stood in stunned silence. The scientist whispered, "You came not to judge us for weakness, but to see if we were different." The princess nodded, her silver hair glowing like starlight. "Yes, Earthling, and you are different, dangerously so. The galaxy will not understand you. It will not forgive you, but it will fear you, and perhaps one day it will follow you." She raised her hand, and the golden halls trembled, the ship itself humming with energy. The humans braced, fearing the end. But instead the chamber opened wider, revealing ships, countless ships, hovering in the void, each glowing with alien light, each silent but watching, and the princess's voice rang clear. "I am heir to 1,000 worlds," she declared. "And I say this now before my fleets, before the stars, that Earth is not to be ignored. Earth is not to be crushed. Earth will stand with me, and those who wish to challenge it will face my wrath." The soldier's jaw fell. The pilot gasped. The doctor covered his mouth. The civilian whispered in disbelief, "She just made us her ally." And the scientist's eyes filled with tears. "No, not just ally. She gave us a place among the stars." The princess turned to them one last time. Her impatience softened into something new, something like respect. Her voice no longer sharp but steady. "Do not think this is a gift, Earthlings. You must rise. You must grow. You must get on with it. The galaxy will not wait, and neither will I." The humans bowed their heads, not in submission, but in acknowledgement, for they understood the trials were over. But the true challenge was only beginning. The princess lifted her gaze once more, her violet eyes blazing, and with a wave of her hand, the golden ship began to descend, carrying them back toward Earth. The people of the world watched from below as the great ship glowed brighter, then slowly dimmed, and the voice of the princess echoed one last time across every channel, across every city, across every heart. "Earthlings, remember this day, for it is the day you stepped into the stars, the day you proved yourselves more than children. But do not waste time, do not stumble, do not fall, rise, grow, and get on with it." And then the sky cleared, the golden ship vanished into the void, and Earth was left trembling, not with fear but with hope. The human team stood together on the shore, looking at the horizon, each changed forever. They had faced the princess. They had defied her, and in doing so, they had gained her respect. Humanity was no longer alone, no longer small, no longer silent. The stars had noticed Earth, and the galaxy would never be the same again.